What is going on, everybody? This is Xbox Architect here, and I'm coming at you with part 2 of this wooden house building tutorial series. Now, as you can remember, and as you can see on screen right now, in the past video, what we did is we started building up the first floor so that we could go ahead and start building up the second floor on top of that. And I'm going to go ahead and do exactly the same thing as I did for the previous video, where I've already gone ahead and traced out the basic floor plan for the second level, except I did something a little different this time. As you can see, there are some red blocks in between the white and blue, and those red blocks are actually going to be open spaces. You're not going to want to do anything with those, just leave them blank. The only reason I put those in is because it was kind of hard to tell the difference between the white of the white and blue tracing from the white of the ceiling right below it. So let's take a look at what we got here. These two rooms are just going to be standard bedrooms. And then these smaller spaces on the inside of these two bedrooms are just going to be closets. And then the small room in the corner above the garage is going to be a Jack and Jill or joint bathroom shared between the two bedrooms. This space is just going to be a landing space. Eventually we will go ahead and put in something representative of a sliding glass door right here, because there will actually be a balcony that extends out. And then this is the master suite, so you have the main bedroom, you have the bathroom, and you have the master walk-in closet. So a good starting point for you to be aware of when you're starting to trace out this floor plan is you're going to start building right on top of the walls that are already in place for this opening above the entryway and next to the stairs. What you're going to want to do, in my case, I'm going to have to go ahead and replace all of these tracing blocks with spruce logs, which will be the material that you start to trace this out with. But in your case, because you don't have the tracing sitting on top of the ceiling, you can just go ahead and start placing these blocks exactly as you see these white and blue squares laid out. Okay, so now that you've traced out the floor plan pattern that I had for you with the spruce logs, we're just going to make a couple of edits real quick. We're just going to take away and replace a couple of blocks of what we did. So looking at this right now, this opening for the entryway and the stairwell is actually going to be as tall as the second floor ceiling height. Now, if you can imagine, we're going to end up putting these spruce planks all the way up, so it wouldn't make a ton of sense to have this random line of spruce logs all the way across in this open area. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to delete all of the spruce blocks that can be seen from the inside, and we're going to replace them with the spruce planks, just like that. And we're going to do the same thing over here on the wall with the stairs. Now we should be ready to go for the next step. We're basically going to start putting in the flooring, and it's going to have the same basic concept as the first floor. So all of the spaces except for the bathrooms are going to have birch planks, and for the bathrooms we're just going to go ahead and we're going to grab our polished andesite. So let's lay those down in the bathrooms. And for these bathrooms, make sure that you're placing the polished andesite in the doorways so that the floor is continuous all throughout. We're going to do the same thing for the master bedroom. Now we can just go ahead and grab our birch planks, and we can start filling in all the rest of the spaces that are left open. Once you finish that, we'll move on to the next step. Alright, now that you have your flooring material in, it should look exactly like this, minus the fact that I've already put down placeholders for what we're going to do in the next step. And if you remember from the previous video, we're going to be doing the upright spruce log posts right on the outside corners, and the only one that's not going to be an outside corner is going to be this one right here, which is just on the outside edge of the master bathroom. So what we're going to do is exactly the same thing as we did for the first floor. We're going to take spruce logs and we're going to raise these up to be 6 blocks high. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to come to this corner. We're going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then right at the edge of the master bath, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same thing in this corner, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to keep going around to all these different corners, just as I'm demonstrating right now. Okay, so now that we have all of these posts in place, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to grab our spruce planks and we're going to start filling in all of the spaces that currently are either spruce planks already or the spruce logs facing up. We're just going to fill all that in 5 blocks high with the spruce planks. Your level should be 1 block below the posts that we just made. The posts are 6 blocks tall, and the wall should be 5 blocks tall. Boy, I'm discovering apparently I can't count. Okay, so now that you have your walls in place, they're 5 blocks high and the posts are 6 blocks high, what you're going to do is exactly the same thing as you did with the previous video on the lower level. You're just going to trace only the perimeter with the spruce logs facing up. Now we'll start looking at the next step. Alright, so the next step that we're going to take is we're going to do the ceiling. Now, if you're looking at the build from above like this, you should see the entire perimeter lined with spruce logs facing up, just like this, and we're going to take one final step on that perimeter job. All we're going to do is we're going to come over the master bedroom, and on this wall towards the back of the house right here, we're going to leave this 1 block in the corner, but we're actually going to take away 11 of these spruce logs just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And we're just going to go ahead and replace those with the spruce planks right like that. Alright, so now we're ready to actually put in the ceiling. What you're going to do is you're going to go into your inventory and you're going to grab chiseled quartz blocks, and you're just going to fill in this entire space on the same level as the perimeter that you just placed, and that will leave a 5 block high ceiling height on the inside underneath. Alright, so now your ceiling is in place, and what you should have is an entirely enclosed box that serves as a general frame for basically building out the rest of the house. And the next step that we're going to take is we're going to start adding windows, because amazingly enough, you don't want to live in a dark house, you don't want to not have any daylight, and we need the daylight to be able to see on the inside when we start placing the lights. Alright, so let's start at the front of the house. It's pretty straightforward and simple. Let's start right here. This lower block right here is where your dining room is. And it's really easy to see the floor level too, because obviously we've outlined the floor perimeter with those spruce logs. So it'll be a good gauge to tell us where we should put the windows and what height. So what we're going to do is we're going to count 1, 2 from the ground, or if you want to go from the spruce logs, you just go 1 above that, and you're going to place an opening and another opening symmetrical on the other side. And essentially what you're going to do is you're going to create a 3 block tall and 2 block wide window that should have 1 block of space from the spruce on the side and 1 block of space on the bottom and on the top, and they should be pretty centered in between. You should have 3 blocks of space in between both windows, and then we're going to do exactly the same thing right above that. So now you're left with those holes. Let's move over here. Again, we're going to do exactly the same thing for this room, which will be the office or sitting room. You're going to count 2 blocks wide, 3 blocks tall, and either 2 blocks above the terrain or 1 block above the spruce logs. And we're going to do exactly the same thing on that side right there. Now, we're going to come above, and this is going to be where the master bathroom is. And we're just going to raise that up 1 more. So you're going to be 3 blocks up from the lower ceiling material or 2 blocks up from the spruce, but you're still going to have 1 block of space on the side, and you're just going to punch 4 blocks right there so you have a 2x2 opening, and you're going to do the same thing right on the other side. And you should have a symmetrical setup going on right here with 2 blocks in between, 1 block on either edge, and then 2 blocks below before you hit the spruce. Now we're going to take the same sized window, and we're just going to come over here where the entryway is, and we're just going to punch a 2x2 right in the middle at the same exact level as the master bathroom. And we're going to keep that same level, and we're going to go over here to this other Jack and Jill or shared bathroom, whichever you want to call it, and we're going to punch a 2x2 that's 1 block away from this spruce corner. Okay, so now we'll move along to this side of the house. What you're going to want to do here on this lower level, again, this is the sitting room or office, whichever it's going to be, and we're just going to do the same exact thing as we did in the front, where you're cutting a 2x3 hole with 1 block of space between the spruce. We're going to do the same thing over here, except we're going to pretend that this corner right here is just like this with the spruce. So you're still going to have 1 block of space on the edge, just like that, and 3 blocks of space in between. We're going to come up and do the same thing above here for the master bathroom. We're going to cut a 2x3 hole, and we're going to make it 1 block away from this front edge with this corner right there. And we're going to do something similar here for this main living room area, except this time we're going to cut a 3x3 hole. Just like that. We're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. And then we're also going to take a 2x3, just like the bathroom and the lower sitting level office area, and we're just going to cut a 2x3 right there. We're not going to do the same thing over in this corner because the chimney is actually going to come up and cover that space. Alright, so now we're looking at the back of the house. Let's come over here to where the main living area is, and we're going to punch a 2x3 hole that's 1 block from the floor level, or 1 block from the spruce, and 1 block away from the spruce in this corner. We're going to do the same thing over here on the other side. And then you're actually going to leave 2 blocks of space on the inner side of either of the 2 holes we just punched, and we're going to punch a 3x3 hole directly in the center of that. Next, we'll move over here. We're going to put in an opening for a sliding glass door in the kitchen. So we're going to make a 3x3 opening that leaves 1 block of space before the corner, and we're going to make this on the floor level, so right above where those spruce logs are. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we can come over here. This is where the mud room and powder room are going to be. What we're actually going to do is we're going to use the same level. We're going to go 1 block above the floor or the spruce, whichever you want to call it. And we're going to punch a 2x3, except this time we're going to leave 2 blocks of space from that corner. Now we are going to punch another 2x3, except this time we're going to leave 3 blocks of space next to this one in between. Then we can come over here. This is the back side of the garage, and we're going to punch a 2x3 hole directly in the center, just like this. So there's 1 on top or bottom, and then 2 on either side. Then let's come over here. We're going to add another sliding glass door directly above the lower level, because there is going to be a walkout balcony up on the 2nd level. So that should be even with the lower level. If I can stay flying, that would help. And then we're going to come over here to the master bedroom, and we're going to punch a 2x3, 1 from the edge and 1 from the floor. We're only going to leave 1 block of space in between, and then we're going to punch a 3x3. And then again leave another 1 block of space, and then punch another 2x3. Now what we can do is we can do another 2x3, leaving 3 blocks of space in between the window and the sliding glass door, and 1 block of space from this corner. And we're going to leave 1 block of space from this corner, and we're going to count 3 blocks of space in between. Alright, so now we can come along the last side of the house that we haven't touched yet, and fairly simple. All we're going to do is another 2x3 opening, 1 block from this spruce and 1 block from this spruce, basically just exactly the same thing that we've been doing for most of the other windows, and we're going to do the same thing right on this other side here. Now there is going to be 2 blocks wide of spruce, and that really doesn't matter. You're only paying attention to the planks and not the logs. So now what you can do is you can come into your inventory. If you don't already have it out, all you're going to need to do is just take black stained glass panes and fill in all of the holes that you just made. For now, we're going to skip these garage doors. We'll fill those in a separate step. Another thing I should mention is also skip doing these sliding glass door holes. We're also going to do those in the same step as the garage doors. It just gets a little bit more complicated. You don't just want to fill these in with the glass panes. Okay, so now that you have all your windows filled in, let's go ahead and do the sliding glass doors and the garage door. What you're going to need to grab is a block of black stained glass. And you're also going to want to go over to items, and you're going to want to find a button. So in this case, let's just choose, how about a black stone button? Let's start at the garage doors. All you need to do is just fill those in with the black stained glass blocks. Then let's come back around. For these sliding glass doors, what you're going to want to do is place stained glass blocks on one edge. All you need to do is 3, just like that. Do the same thing right above. And then take your pane and go ahead and place 3 right next to that, just like this. And then from there, what you can do is take your button and right in the center on the block, just go ahead and place just like that. Do that for both. Alright, and the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start building out those balconies that I was talking about. So you might have seen these in previous steps or even in the last video, but I've had these spruce logs sitting in the ground behind the house, and these are actually just placeholders for where we're going to start building out the balcony. So let's come over here. All you're going to need is spruce logs. From this corner, you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 and place so that there's 5 blocks of space from the house. You're going to raise this up to be 6 blocks tall. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we'll move over. We're going to count, we're going to have 4 blocks of space in between. So 1, 2, 3, 4, place. Make it 6 blocks high. This one we're only going to have 3 blocks of space in between. But this one again is going to have 4. And then you still should have 5 blocks of space from the house. Now coming over here next to the kitchen, we're going to be even with this wall right here. And we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks of space and then place, make it 6 tall. And then this one we're going to move over and we're only going to leave 4 blocks of space in between. And these should be 4 blocks away from this wall right here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take these spruce logs and we're just going to place even with this pole right here on the end, except we're going to bring that out one further and we're going to make this 2 levels. Just like that. And then we're going to take our spruce logs and we're going to come in this direction right above the poles until it meets this corner. And then from that corner, we're going to bring it back out. And we're going to do the same thing that we did right over there. We're just going to bring this out further one more. And we can raise this up and bring it out. And then we'll come across again. Now, don't put this log right on top of this pole because we're going to bring out from this corner, just like we did the other 2, 1 extra. And then we can go ahead and raise this up. And then this is actually going to meet the chimney. So the chimney, we're just going to put a placeholder here. Doesn't matter what block. But the chimney is going to be right there. It's going to be 1 block wider than this current opening that we have for the fireplace. And this wood is going to butt right up against that. So what we're going to do is take that spruce log and just bring it out until it's even right there. Now what we can do is we can just go ahead and delete that placeholder. And then let's come back over here. And we're going to make 1 spruce wood block facing out directly above each of the other poles. Just like that. We're going to do the same thing over here. And now because this is going to be covered, what we're going to want to do is add a ceiling to this. So we're going to take the same thing, the chiseled quartz block, and we're going to fill in that lower level. And it's going to be the same ceiling height as the rest of the first floor. We're going to do the same thing over here. And now we need to fill in the floor material. So what we're going to do is come over here and we're just going to grab stone bricks. Nice and simple. And we're also going to go ahead and grab birch planks. And the reason that we're grabbing the birch planks is because we're actually going to replace those 3 spruce logs with the birch so that the floor continues out. We're actually going to come down below on the first floor and do the same exact thing. But now the rest of this open space for the balcony, all you're going to do is just fill it in with the stone bricks. The next thing we're going to do for the balcony here is plain and simple. We're just going to frame out where the roof is going to jut out above this little deck right here. It's not going to be the whole thing. It's just going to be this larger portion. So go ahead and grab your spruce log and you're going to place it 1 in from this side right on the edge and do the same thing over here. And we're going to raise these up to be 5 blocks high. So 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then from this corner, we're just going to bring these forward and make it overlap 1. And do the same exact thing over here. And then all you need to do is just come across just like that. So before we move to the inside and we start doing lights, let's just go ahead and finish off this chimney right here. So what you're going to do is come in and grab your cobblestone. And first thing you're going to want to do on the actual house is just delete these portions of the walls right here. And you're going to leave exactly 5 blocks of space in between. And you're just going to replace those with cobblestone. Now the rest of it doesn't really matter, but in case you don't have fire spreads turned off, you know, it's a lot easier to run a fire here when you have stone instead of just, you know, wood and catching this entire build on fire, which I'm sure would frustrate a lot of you. But all we're going to do is raise up the chimney to be 17 blocks tall. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Let's just go ahead and fill in this space right here. Make it even. And we'll just bring it up the rest of the way. Now we want this chimney to be 3 blocks wide and 5 blocks long. So we're just going to take the cobblestone and finish it off just like that. So there's only a 1x3 opening right at the top. Next thing we're going to do is just come inside and start working on the lights. Alright, so as we come inside here to start the lights, obviously you can tell it's still pretty dark in here, but it would be a heck of a lot worse if we hadn't to put in the windows prior to starting, because it would basically be pitch black, and trying to count the numbers on the ceiling, it would just suck. It would not be worth it. So what you're going to do now, you're going to go to your inventory and you're going to grab a sea lantern, and we're going to start placing these as the primary lights throughout the entire house. Now, there is one rule that we're going to follow. We always want to make sure that there's 2 blocks of space away from any of these exterior walls, because we're actually going to go ahead and add in some decorative wood trim in a later step, and we want to be able to have the space to do that and still make everything look even. Now, the only time that this rule doesn't apply is in places that's only 3 blocks wide, like a hallway or the bathroom on the first floor, for instance, where it's not physically possible. But for right now, let's go ahead and punch a hole 2 blocks from this wall and 2 blocks from this wall. We're looking over here, and we're just going to place a sea lantern, and then we're going to move over and leave 2 blocks of space in between, and leave another 2 blocks of space in between. We're going to come over here, and we're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. Then let's go across the hall, and again, leaving 2 blocks of space from either wall. We're just going to place 4 in the corners just like this, so each of the lights should have 3 blocks of space in between. Now we'll come over to the main living area. Again, 2 blocks from this corner in either side, and the same thing over here. And we're just going to place 1 directly in the center so that there's 3 blocks of space on either side. And we're going to do the same thing over here. 2 blocks from either wall, and 3 blocks in between each light. And then we're going to look in the center, and we're just going to punch out the center, and we're going to create an array. So everything should line up with each other and be pretty even. Now we'll come over here, and we're just going to place 1 2 blocks from this wall, 2 blocks from the beam, and 2 blocks from right here. And then we're going to count 3 blocks of space in between, place another, have another 3 blocks of space, place another, and another 3 blocks of space in between, and that'll punch us out right here, again with 2 blocks of space from either of these walls. And then we're going to come in this corner and again apply that same rule. leave 2 blocks of space, and then count 1, 2, 3, and place another just like that. So right here, you should have 4 blocks of space in between these when you're facing this direction. Now we'll come over into this hallway. Let's go ahead and let's place 1 light 2 blocks away from this beam and leave 2 blocks of space in between. And then another 2 blocks of space, just like that. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna move this backwards 1. So we're gonna place 1 block away from this beam, 2 blocks of space in between, 2 blocks of space in between, and that'll make this very even, directly centered in the mudroom. And so then let's leave 3 blocks of space in between these, just like that. And again, because this hallway is only 3 blocks wide, we're not actually going to have any decorative trim in here. So this is one instance where the rule doesn't apply, where you need to be 2 blocks away from the wall. Then we'll come into this bathroom right here, and we'll just place 1 light right in the center, directly from where the door is. Now, speaking of the door, because it was dark in here before, we didn't really get a chance to go ahead and finish off these doorways, so we might as well right now. So if you still have your spruce planks in your immediate hotbar right here, that's awesome, and if not, go ahead and grab them. And you're just going to place 2 just like that, so that you have a 3 block tall opening, and you're going to do the same thing over here for the garage. So now if we come into the garage, we're going to do the 2 block rule from either wall right here, and the same thing on this side, and the same thing in this corner. And we're just going to make this final light even with that corner and that corner. So you have 4 lights placed just like that. And then we're going to do the 2 rule over here. Place 2 from the corner, and place another 2 from the corner. And really, that's all you need in the garage. You're not going to be doing a whole ton of stuff in here, unless you want to build some sort of workshop or try to build some sort of car after this. I mean, that's up to you. And then one thing I completely forgot before when we were doing the other video is the fact that we need to have some steps right here going up. So what we're going to do is come in, and we're just going to grab stone stairs, and we're going to place a stone stair directly in front of that 1 block higher of the gray concrete in front of the doorway. And then we'll turn 90 degrees on either side so that your steps look like that. And then we'll continue on with the 2nd floor, and eventually we'll get to the point we're going to put a chandelier right here above this entry doorway. So now we can come up the stairs and start doing the 2nd floor. We're going to apply the same 2 rule right here. So when you come up the stairs and you're looking at this corner where these bedrooms are, you're going to apply the 2 rule, place 1 right there, and do the same thing right there. And then you're also going to make another one just like that. Make sure that it's 2 blocks from this wall right next to the stairs, and you want it to be even with this light right there. And we're just going to come over and place another one right here. So there should be 4 blocks of space between any of these in a square pattern. So we'll come into this first bedroom here, and again, apply that same rule. There's going to be a square with 3 blocks of space between either of the lights. Except right here, we're going to place one only 1 block away from this wall, and you'll see why in a later step. We can come into this bathroom here and place one right there and place one right there, leaving 1 block of space directly in the center of the ceiling. We'll go ahead and place one above the doorway just like we did in the other bedroom, and then apply that same 2 rule, making a square with 3 blocks of space between any of the lights. Now we can move over to the bedroom, pardon me, the master bedroom, I should specify. Place one 2 rule from this corner, leave 2 blocks of space in between, and create 3, and then do exactly the same thing over here on the other side. Now we can come into the bathroom. We're just going to place one right here with 1 block of space next to any of these walls. We're going to place one directly in the center of this corner, and we're going to place one with 1 block of space from these walls. And then we'll go over to the closet and we'll place one right there in line with the doorway, centered on the inside of the closet. So now we can do the same thing that we did on the first floor. Obviously it was really dark, we didn't get a chance to finish these openings, these doorways. So just take your spruce planks and go ahead and just fill that in too, so that you're left with a 3 block tall opening. Do that again for the closet, for the main bedroom. Again over here for these 2 bedrooms as well. For the bathroom. And then this right here is going to be the closet. We're just going to go ahead and fill in the same amount of height, so you're still left with a 3 block tall opening, except this one's going to be 4 blocks wide. We're going to come into the other bedroom and do exactly the same thing. Next thing we're going to do is build a chandelier that goes down above the entranceway. Alright, so before we start building the chandelier, let's figure out what you need. You're going to need nether brick fence, you're going to need white stained glass blocks, you're going to need white stained glass panes, and you're going to need an end rod. So let's come over here. We're going to make this 4 blocks wide with 2 blocks hanging down. So what we're going to do, we're going to count 4 blocks of space from this window. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then move back another 1, and you're going to place your nether brick fence, and you're going to make that 2 blocks wide, and then you're going to bring this down 3. Once you bring that down 3, take your white stained glass block and just put those directly on the bottom of the nether brick fence, and then fill in all the way around those glass blocks with the white stained glass pane. Then what you can do is place an end rod in all the corners. There you have it. It's super simple, it's nothing super complicated, but it looks pretty nice, and it just adds a nice little decorative element instead of just continuing on with the sea lanterns. Plus, you have the ceiling height to be able to do it, so why not? Alright, and that is going to wrap up part 2, video 2 of this wooden house build series. if you're enjoying what we're doing right now. I'm sure you probably are. If you're still here at this point in the video or this point in the series, please go ahead and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button as well so you can stay up to date with all the future videos that I have coming out for this particular build series, as well as other build series in the future, along with tours of my own personal builds and other small various tutorials sprinkled throughout. With that being said, stay tuned for part 3 of this particular series, where next time we're going to start looking at building out the roof.